And you're back on Open. Darren Hyme here with you. Remember, Open is a live and interactive show. We encourage you always join in on our conversation by calling us at 718-960-7241. Or if you want, you can send us an email to open@BronxNet.org. And we, of course, open it up right here on the show. Well, since the days of being just a soup kitchen in the Upper West Side of Manhattan to one of the country's leading not-for-profit organizations in aiding the homeless, the Jericho Project has more than succeeded in its mission to providing safe and affordable housing, as well as career and educational training. Recently, they opened a housing facility for soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. Here to tell us more about it is the Director of Development, Miss Mary Taylor. We welcome you to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Oh, good to have you. Memorial Day is come and gone. Yes. And, of course, it's a time to remember those who, you know, have paid service and are worthy of honor in our country. But yet and still, that honor is there for a day, but there are many people who suffer all year round.
Yeah. You know, the issue, Jericho got involved with the issue of homeless veterans in 2006. We are a supportive housing agency. We've been doing this for 28 years now, and we have 5 buildings in New York City. 4 of them are in the Bronx, and 1 is in Central Harlem. And we also run a supportive apartment program where we lease apartments on the open market. And our sort of core model is we don't believe that we're the last stop for the men and women who come to us. They come to us from the homeless shelters, the streets, rehabilitation facilities, and many of them live in the subway. The people you see in the subway, those are the men and women who come and live with us. We're permanent housing. They have a lease, like I do in New York City. They have all the tenant rights. But what we do for them and with them is we give them the tools and the support and the care and the case management to put the pieces back together about whatever led them to homelessness or addiction, whether it was family abuse, whatever it was. And then we help them when they're ready, because they can stay with us forever if they choose to. But we help them when they're ready to move on to independent lives, to get their own apartments, to go back to school, to have careers, to be back with their families.
Give us an idea of the numbers that we're seeing when it comes to homeless veterans, because some would say that it's only a small population, but you would contend
it's actually huge. And we're not just talking about the young men and women who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. About 1 in 3 homeless individuals in the United States is a veteran, and about 50% of that are
1 in 3.
1 in 3. Yeah, there's over 100,000 homeless veterans who sleep on the streets every night or in homeless shelters. And you know, when we realized that and we looked at that, and in New York City, every night there's an estimated 3,500 homeless veterans who sleep in our shelters or on our streets. It took vets coming back from Vietnam between 9 and 12 years to start entering the homeless system and dealing with their issues. We're seeing young men and women coming back from Iraq already entering the homeless situations, or they're sleeping on their couches, their friends' basements. It's a huge, huge issue.
And I guess for somebody who's watching says, how does this occur?
Yeah, we thought that too. We thought that too, and there's a lot of different reasons. For the young vets coming home, let's remember, most of them are under the age of 25. They've gone from high school to the military, where everything was structured, where, you know, they had a job. They had a job taking care of their comrades, a life-threatening job. When they come back, they're facing an enormous amount of PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and they don't know how to get help. And they're also facing a job market where they're struggling to transition what they learned, the skills they learned in the military, into real jobs here. It's an unemployment rate of close to 12%.
Wow. So you guys do provide help, and obviously May 23rd was a big day here in the borough of the Bronx.
It was great.
You were providing some assistance to homeless veterans, and the first veterans residence of its kind in New York in about 17 years.
17 years, yeah.
Share with us exactly what about the residence.
Well, on the 23rd, we had the grand opening celebration of Fordham Village. It's our first veterans community here, and we're opening up our second in November down over on Kingsbridge. Fordham Village is 56 studio apartments, and 60% of that is for homeless veterans coming out of the shelter, and 20% is for low-income veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. it's pretty fabulous. This was a vacant lot we bought in 2007.
And we're seeing pictures of it right now.
Yep. The woman in the center, the African-American woman, is an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran, Prentice Donaldson, and she is in one of our affordable housing units at Fordham Village. So, yeah, and when they come to us, they're going to get the care they need, whether it's just help with jobs and a jumping-off place, or whether it's more intensive PTSD, substance abuse counseling, because they deserve it. We feel like no veteran should sleep on the street, and we'll be housing by the end of the year almost 200 New York City veterans in our programs, and we're really proud of that.
Wow. Yeah. Saw one of the other people in the picture. If we get that picture back up there, Roscoe Brown is a former Tuskegee.
Dr. Roscoe Brown,
former Tuskegee Airman,
is dear to our hearts at Jericho. He is a member of our Veterans Advisory Council, along with other acclaimed veterans, and we are naming the community room. We're calling it the Red Tail Room in Fordham Village after the Tuskegee Airmen for their bravery and their real dedication to the community.
Beautiful.
So we heart Dr. Brown.
Yeah, full disclosure, Dr. Brown's a former member of the board here at BronxNet Television, as well as the many other boards that he served on. So obviously, having an impact such as this, how are you able to ascertain veterans and get them to housing, and then maybe if there's somebody who might be a family member of a veteran who's watching right now, what could they do to partake in some of the great work that you guys are doing?
We have been working for 5 years now in developing our networks with the VA, the Bronx VA, the Manhattan VA, with veteran service organizations, with the military, the Department of Defense, to help identify veterans who need our services, or if they can't come to us, if they don't fit what we do, then helping them find other services. And especially for these young veterans coming home, they're really hard to find, and they're really reticent in asking for care. If you are a homeless veteran, or if you are a family member and your vet needs help, you can go to our website at www.jerichoproject.org. And if we can't help you, we will promise that we'll try and find someplace that can help you.
What are the options when you look at the homeless rate? You said 1 in 3 of those who are homeless are American veterans. What are some of the options that you would like to see made available to veterans that possibly could bridge this gap and bring the number down?
Well, there's always a need for more housing. There's always a need for more housing like we do, building buildings that are dedicated for homeless people to help them, not forever, but to help them move past this crisis period of their lives. But there's also just a need for affordable housing for veterans, especially for these young veterans. Affordable housing and jobs, and that's what we do in our Veteran Supportive Apartment Program. We help them find affordable housing. We actually have funders that are furnishing their apartments.
Beautiful.
And then we have intensive job support, because a lot of these veterans just need help now. They need an understanding from you, from me, from the general public, that without helping them now, they're going to cycle into being the Vietnam veterans in another 12 or 15 years, and we don't want that to happen. They don't deserve that after everything they've been through.
So let's get some final information now. If people want to find out more information about the Jericho Project, how do they go about that?
You can go to our website, www.jerichoproject.org, and that will have all of our contact information. They can call us directly at 646-624-2341.
I know it's always hard to remember the number, especially when you're not
my
the
cell
one always
phone, my work phone, my home phone. Yeah, it's hard.
Thank you so much, Mary, for coming in.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
And thanks for the great work that you guys continue to do.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, we encourage you to stay with us, because coming up next, beer breweries are back in the Bronx. And guess